All right, folks, want to go in deep right now because the last 24 hours has seen the intersection of the world of finance and the world of pop culture. This after Forbes magazine declared Kylie Jenner the youngest self-made billionaire ever. Some consider it, well, player hating, but there has always been this sort of thing about, in this country at least, about people, how they've gotten their money, right? How they became rich. And instead of really just celebrating the fact that anyone can become rich. Even a boss, Rick Ross, pushed back on his rivals with the line, self-made, you're just affiliated. I built the ground up. You bought it renovated. Because Americans love a success story. In part because it's part of the largest story of America where let's face it, it's the blueprint for self-made wealth that other countries are now adopting. Now, there's another story, by the way, today. A great story of self-made success, and it's never going to hit People magazine or any of these other vanguards of pop culture. But it is a reminder that you don't have to come from a rich or famous family to become self-made success or wealthy in this country. You know, earlier today, the #1 stock in the entire market was Arrow Environmental. It's a company that posted their results last night after the bell, just blew away Wall Street, raised their first quarter guidance significantly. Now, the company makes those unmanned aircraft systems like the ones used by the military and the private sector. It's a 48-year-old company, but their roots go back even further to the childhood of Paul McCready. Paul, he was dyslexic, had trouble concentrating, and by his own admission, was the smallest kid in his class and, well, not especially coordinated. As a loner, he liked to run long distances, and then he gained an interest in flight, right? Things from butterflies to model airplanes. And then it fueled his dreams. He ultimately said, you know what, I think I can make animal-powered flight. Well, as it turns out, Dr. McCready gained fame for human-powered flight. His Gossamer Condor went through a figure eight. It covered a 1-mile distance. It put him on the map. Later on, the Albatross version crossed the English Channel. Now, as the name implies, Dr. McCready started this company to pursue projects in alternative energy, environment, and aviation. It's sort of a cross-up of products that have an endless array of uses, including potentially even assisting on the southern border. Now, in an interview with Science magazine in 1986, McCready said that you can do all kinds of things if you just plunge ahead. It doesn't mean you're any good at them, but you can be good enough. And that's the point. Anyone can be self-made in this country, but you have to believe and you really have to try. On that note, I want to bring in Point Bridge Capital founder Hal Lambert for more on this. Hal, you know, we spend a lot of time in debating whether Kylie is authentic or not. You know, the fact of the matter is that she's in a long line of self-made rich people in this country, and I think that's the ultimate story.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Kylie Jenner and Dr. McCready is especially the epitome of the American dream. I mean, he came from nothing. He started his company, he had a passion. Nobody talks about the Friday nights or the Saturday nights where he had to say, no, I can't go meet you, watch the football game, or go to a movie because I'm working. There's a lot of work behind this, and people need to realize that. But there are millions and millions of Dr. McCready's out there in the U.S., and they're trying and working hard in small businesses. They may not have the same success he ultimately has. Many people obviously won't have the same success as Kylie Jenner. But look, Kylie Jenner, I think she is self-made. And if you look at the Forbes top 10, look at the Forbes top 10 of the global wealth. 7 of the top 10 are in the U.S. All 7 of them are self-made. All 7. This country is the best country in the world for creating wealth. Look, the bottom 10% in poverty in this country are wealthier than 70% of the rest of the world. They're wealthier than most of the top 10% of the rest of the world. And all we hear about is income inequality and how the wealthy are too wealthy.
And on that note, Hal, you know, I think we can generate even more wealth. You know, it's so ironic in this world where, you know, in this country where we're being pulled toward socialism, we're being pulled toward universal basic income, we're being pulled toward the notion of paying people not to work. You know, today we've got a stock up 20%, that, you know, people are making a lot of money and they're hiring people, but anyone. How do we articulate to the American public that this can be anyone? You don't have to be rich and famous, that this can be you. Follow your passion and go for it.
I think we have to have a really positive message out there. And we have to have examples like you just showed on this program of people that have done this. There's a lot of people out there that are working hard and doing that and succeeding. Look, the standard of living in the United States is higher than it's ever been in the history of the country for everyone, not just the rich. And people need to realize how lucky they are to be here. And look at all the millions of people that want to come to this country by any means necessary. It's because it's the best country in the world. It's the best country in the world to get out of poverty, to go from poverty to wealth. There's no other country like it. There never has been and there never will be. It is here that it can be done.
Yep.
And there's examples everywhere.
Hal, thank you very, very much. Well, you know, it's been a sort of a listless week for the markets. Wobbly, unsteady trading, investors really looking for direction. Well, we think we have it for you.